It's heavy portal season for the Florida Gators, but at the same time, I want to chat about a few of Florida's players who signed in the class of 2023, but we could see take a pretty big jump in 2024. These are the players that are headed into their second season in Billy Napier's program who could potentially break out for the Gators in 2024. We've talked on nearly every video about what 2024 could mean for Billy Napier. For him to find success, he will need contributions from some of these guys. So let's talk about it. As a bit of a disclaimer, we won't be covering our freshmen who won starting jobs last year, like Eugene Wilson or Jordan Castile. We are going to talk about guys that we think could make a huge impact this upcoming season, but were mainly role players last year. Let's start first on offense. Naji Harris. Okay, guys, he was a high 3-star interior offensive lineman out of IMG Academy. We know that they produce some stud athletes. He got more offensive snaps than any other true freshman last season outside of Trey Wilson. He would be pushing for a starting role this upcoming season, even if Micah Mazuka and Leonard had stayed. But he's in an even better position to make an impact in 2024 now that both of those guys have hit the transfer portal. Florida's going to need Naji Harris to step up, take that next move in the right direction, and really contribute, hopefully as a starter for this offensive line next season. Rod Kearney is another guy that I really expect to take that positive step forward in this offseason and be a major contributor next season as well. He was a high 4-star lineman out of high school. High, guys, almost a 5-star. He is currently Billy Napier's highest rated offensive lineman recruit to date. All right, so that's saying something right there. He actually played guard in high school, but I don't know if you remember, he played center in our spring game in 2023. And then he redshirted this past season. I doubt he's going to see many snaps at center with Jake Slaughter coming back, but he's going to be fighting to be in that guard rotation along with Naji Harris. This is a guy that really we want to see if he's developed. He came in with a ton of raw talent. High 4-star guys are not guys that you think need years of development, a good solid year in the program, and they should be ready to contribute. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. And like I said, the highest rated offensive lineman that Billy Napier has signed to date. So now is the time to show that these highly rated guys that you brought in are now able to contribute on the field. And listen, Florida's offensive line wasn't good last year, right? That was a big part of our problem this season with the offense sputtering, was just the offense not having enough time to get done what they needed to get done because of poor blocking by the offensive line. And now that we've lost some guys that were starters last year, some key pieces on an offensive line again that underperformed, but some veteran leadership that has since hit the transfer portal, it's even more important for these young guys to step up. And Florida needs their offensive line to have a better season in 2024 if we expect the record to be different. And obviously we all do. Tron Web is another player that I think could really contribute next season. 4-star running back. Flashed big play potential in his limited touches last season. Obviously with Etienne and Johnson, they sucked up the majority of the carries. Webb was the solid third option for Florida and really didn't see a whole lot of playing time unless there were injuries or it was late in games that Florida had put away. But he looked great in the limited amount of time that we got to see him. But he's got a really big opportunity in front of him right now. With Etienne transferring, there are a lot of carries up for grabs, right? Johnson will not be touching the ball 40 times a game. Nobody wants that for their running back, especially not where we are with running backs in college football at the moment. There is lots of carries that could go Webb's way. He's going to need to continue to have a good spring, but I expect he is going to be a key contributor come next fall. Aiden Miselle is another guy that I really hope we see a lot out of. High 4-star wide receiver out of high school. He is the fastest player on the team, at least until Jerace Hawkins shows up. And with that kind of elite speed, he is a threat to take the top off the defense or take a screen pass to the house. He is somebody that we are going to need to get the ball to. He'll be a nice complement to Wilson. Obviously, Florida's trying to replace Ricky Pearsall, who had close to 1,000 yards last season and was Mr. Reliable for Graham Mertz. We're going to need some of these young guys to step up in a big way. Aiden Miselle is one that I expect that to happen for. And then also Andy Jean, another 4-star wide receiver. We heard a lot of great things about him after summer practices. He's an elite route runner. He began his career with what we would consider a college-ready frame, right? 6'1", 200 pounds. He's been compared to Van Jefferson, which, those are big words, right? Van Jefferson not only was incredibly successful at Florida, but and beyond. This is another guy that I expect to get a good amount of catches this season, and that Florida is really going to need to have come into his own if this offense is going to continue to be successful. Last season, Florida averaged just over 30 points a game, which is good, but not great. If they want to improve their record, you've got to average 35 points a game. We need some of these young guys to step up and help to be able to just get over that offensive hump. On defense, there are some young guys that I am really excited to see. Two of those guys are Kelby Collins and TJ Cersi, both high 4-star edge guys. Both were freshmen, all SEC. Between the two of them, they had over 500 snaps last season, and they made their presence known throughout the whole year. They combined for 2 sacks. They had 2 forced fumbles and nearly 50 tackles between them. And listen, there are some big holes to be filled on that defense. Princely Umanmielon's departure gives a massive opportunity for honestly both of these guys, or at least one of them, to really snatch a starting role. They are guys that honestly, I think they're part of why Princely left, potentially. The writing was on the wall. Kelby Collins and TJ Cersi are going to be studs for Florida. You saw it on the field as true freshmen, just flashes of really great playing. And as they continue to develop, they're just going to get better. They're going to get even more snaps this upcoming season. Like I said, big shoes to fill, but I think both of them are more than capable. So really, really excited to watch Kelby Collins and TJ Cersi. Sharif Denson is another player that I am excited to watch on the field. 4-star star player. Highly sought after prospect coming out of high school. Everybody wanted Denson. It was a big coup that he became a Florida Gator. And the departures of Jaden Hill and Jadarius Perkins leaves that star starting role ripe for the taken. Is Denson ready for it? I don't know. But, like I said, when we talked about the offensive line, this is a guy, really highly rated player out of high school, one of Napier's recruits. You expect high 4-star guys to be able to contribute sophomore year. That's where we're going to be with him. So another guy I'll be keeping my eye out on. And then Bryce Thornton, 4-star safety. And I think he's kind of gone a little bit unnoticed with the emergence of Jordan Castell, but Thornton was 10th in defensive snaps on the team, second most of any true freshman defender. And that's pretty darn good. And I think that he will just get more consistent. The more reps he gets, the more time in this system, the more time at practice, he will just get that much better. He was a contributor all year, but he straight up took Miguel Mitchell's job from him at the end of the season. He looked better doing it, right? He wanted it. However, the significance of his role is going to be heavily impacted by what Napier does in the transfer portal this offseason. We just had Yam Banks on a visit. They're looking at several other safeties. So will it be Bryce Thornton's spot, or will Napier go in and get a guy with 1 year left of eligibility and really shore up the defense with a veteran with a lot of experience? Some of that remains to be seen, but I really do think that Bryce Thornton could be a major contributor in 2024. Also look out for Jaden Robinson, 4-star linebacker. He also came in with college-ready size. He was 6'1", 220 pounds. And now that Scooby has transferred out and Tershada Mitchell being out of eligibility kind of provides an opportunity here. This is a very inexperienced linebacker room. Now we've got Pup coming in from South Carolina, and that will help a little bit, but there is some opportunity for some young guys to step up and play, earn a lot of playing time. Jaden Robinson is one of those guys. Last player I want to focus on is Jakeem Jackson. He was a high 4-star cornerback, and I think he's going to step into a larger role next season now that Kimber will be gone. He's incredibly athletic, and he will be behind Marshall and Moore, but we know Moore had trouble staying on the field, so I think there's a great chance we see a lot of Jakeem Jackson next season. All right, which second-year guys are you most excited about seeing this season? Who needs to step up in your eyes, and who's going to make the biggest leap? Let's talk about it down in the comments. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, go Gators.